So we learned about what happened to Prince Kadis in the previous chapters. Okay, today I'm going to share with you the 5th chapter of this book, The Coward and the Sword. This book is written by Jugal Hansraj, and the illustrations are done by Ruchi Shah. This book is published by HarperCollins Children's Book. Okay, so until last chapter, we saw that Prince Kadis was very scared of everything. His father is taking a Prince Kadis on a tour of the army cantonment of the kingdom of Kofu. We also saw that the prince is joined by 2 of his friends, Shijo and Sara. So all of them went and they saw the army cantonment. There was this huge wall that was built. So the king, along with the army general and so many others, plus the 3 young people, Prince Kadis, Shijo, and Sara, they all climbed. What did we see in the last chapter? Right when they were going to descend the wall, Prince Kadis looked down and he got scared. Remember, his knees wobbled and he fainted. So Sara and Shijo held on to him very carefully. He was brought down. And when Kadis opened his eyes, he was already in a royal tent. His dad was next to him, King Risho. Both of his friends, Shijo and Sara, were also next to him. They were just consoling him not to worry. And Prince Kadis felt very bad because he had actually embarrassed his father, is it not? In front of all the army people that were there, in front of all the soldiers, he had embarrassed his father. So Prince Kadis felt very bad about it. Why at all is this happening to me? He thought, why am I not like everybody else? All of them seem to be so brave, but I'm feeling scared about everything. I'm paranoid. Why me? He felt so sad. But his father was so good, King Risho said, don't you worry, my son. Just rest well. We will see tomorrow. Like that, he said. Then suddenly there was a messenger who came inside and said that the king has a new visitor and that he has to go. So the king left the tent along with him. The young prince's friends, Shijo and Sara, also exited the tent. They wanted the prince to take some rest. They were all there. He would keep talking. So they wanted him to sleep and rest well. Everybody went out. Now it was just the prince all by himself. He was trying to think, who at all has come to see my father now? Who is this visitor? Is it a stranger known to me? He was thinking. As he was thinking, he heard a lot of voices just behind his tent. One was his father, he knew. Another was the guest that had come. Now, our Kadis was very curious to know who it was. So he just crept out of the bed. He walked to the back of the tent. He removed one flap and just got outside. You know how a tent is made, lots of pieces of cloth. He just opened one flap and he stepped out. It was very dark there, so nobody knew that the prince had come. So there was his father talking to an old gentleman. He had a long white beard, and the prince thought, who is this person? I have never seen him. He listened to the conversation. From the conversation, Prince Kadis found out that this old man was the king's uncle. It was Prince Kadis's grandfather's brother. From the conversation, the prince also made out that his name was Shonen. So Shonen was Kadis's grand uncle. And looks like Shonen had been staying a little farther away from the army cantonment in a cottage in seclusion. He did not want to enter either this kingdom or the kingdom of Molonga, which was their neighbor. Kadis was wondering what happened. From the conversation, he also found out that there was a drift amongst his ancestors between Shonen and his brother. Who was Shonen's brother? It was Kadis's grandfather. Because of that drift, Shonen has retired into the forest. He refused to come into any of the cities. Kadis wondered what happened. Then suddenly Shonen said, I would like to talk to my grandnephew. Now, Kadis was in jitters, you know, right? Kadis doesn't like to talk to strangers, meet strangers. Everything was very scary for him. Kadis wondered, oh, this old man is going to come and see me. Quickly, he got into his tent. He walked to his bed and lied down. He pretended as if he was sleeping. He covered covered with a blanket up until his neck, and he pretended as if he was sleeping. Now Shonen and the king entered the tent. Then the king said, my son is a little sick. He is sleeping, you can see. And then Shonen came very near his grandnephew and looked at him. He said, dear king, I have a request. Can I have a private audience with my grandnephew? He said. Now Prince Kadis was already in jitters. He didn't want to open his eyes. He continued to pretend that he was sleeping. The king said, why not? And he walked out of the tent. Now Shonen came very near the prince and said, my dear grandnephew, I am so proud of you. You know what? I have a horse standing outside. It's called Greybeard. And whenever you want to meet me, you just come near my horse. The horse will lead you to my cottage. And do not miss this opportunity, he said. Now Kadis was wondering, what is this old man doing? Is he talking to a sleeping grandnephew? Kadis did not open his eyes, nor did he utter a word. They did not exchange pleasantries, nothing. But the moment Shonen came very near Kadis, somewhere he knew that Kadis was not sleeping. So he said this, my horse is outside. You can come anytime to see me. And then he looked around once again and Shonen muttered under his breath, you know, a little before, 1 hour before midnight is the best time to start from here to see me, okay? Make a note of it, my dear grandnephew. Saying so, Shonen just went out of the tent. The aura, the presence of Shonen was so amazing. Kadis could feel it even after Shonen went away. Kadis thought to himself, who is this man? Why does he want to meet me in private? He's asking me to come to his cottage. Why would he do that? Kadis did not understand anything, but he didn't want to open his eyes at all. Shonen had left and Kadis was still thinking what to do. Then he thought to himself, should I go or not? That's the end of the 5th chapter. So what happened next? After that, you have to buy this book and read. Okay, today is the last episode of the series. Do you want to buy this book and read, Sunny? It's a very nice book. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Sunny, for listening. I will. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you.